What's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Neca Frankenstein. And I'm excited about this because I'm a big fan of the Universal Monsters, and it seems like a lot of different companies have made Universal Monsters figures, but they don't really stick to them. So hopefully this guy came out good, and I hope that Neca sticks with them, because I would love to get like the Creature from the Black Lagoon, Invisible Man, Wolfman, all that stuff. But first, let's see how this guy came out. Let's go ahead and get into it, starting off with the packaging. On the front here, you have this very old school looking artwork. You got Boris Karloff in the middle as Frankenstein's monster. Down here, you have Dr. Frankenstein. You have a girl laid out on the bed here. Over here, it says Ultimate Frankenstein's Monster, a Universal re-release. On the side of the box, we get a look at Frankie Jr. himself, I guess that's what we'll call him. And then on the back we get a look at the figure doing all kinds of cool stuff. And then you open this up and then we get a look at the figure itself, and then we have another awesome shot of the figure. And that's about it for the packaging. It does look really cool. I love all the artwork. I like all the action figure shots. I think this is a dope box. I'm definitely going to hold on to it. But enough about this pretty looking box. Let's go ahead and take a look at the figure itself. And I'm going to tell you right off top, this is a very impressive figure, and it's by far the best Frankenstein figure that I've ever purchased. Previously, I did have the Mezco one, and I thought that one was cool, but I never liked the size. I never liked the body that they used for it. They put him on that old Joker body. It just didn't really fit Frankenstein because of how small and human looking it was. I like Frankenstein to be like a big, huge Frankenstein monster, you know, not just like a normal guy with the Frankenstein head, and that's kind of what the Mezco one was. And I did have the Diamond Select one, which looked really good. It had a good size, good sculpt, but it was pretty much a statue. It really didn't have any articulation. So as far as, you know, being a good action figure, that thing was pretty much useless. But this guy right here is pretty much the best of both worlds. He's got a really good sculpt, and he's got good articulation. He doesn't have a whole lot. He's got just enough for the character, and it's all very well hidden. It looks good, and it's just an amazing figure. And because it's Neca, the first thing I want to talk about is the quality control on this figure. So when I saw him in stores, when I was looking at him through the window, I was kind of nervous about the elbows. You know, I was fully expecting to have to come home and put him in a bunch of hot water, and then the refrigerator, and then maybe a blow dryer, and then get like a screwdriver and do all kinds of crazy shit that I always have to do with Neca figures. But I was so relieved to see that right out of the box, most of his joints moved with pretty much zero effort. I was really impressed with the elbows because there was like no resistance at all. As soon as I took them out of the box, they just moved without any problem at all. The only place where I had an issue with this guy was one of his ankles, and I'll show you what happened there because it was kind of weird. I had never seen that type of situation on an action figure, but it was, you know, it was an easy fix. It was just something to laugh at. All Frankenstein's joints moved very well. I didn't have any problems with anything other than the right foot, and I wanted to show you what we had going on here because it's kind of weird. So I don't know if you could tell, but the joint is actually like encased in plastic, and let me try to move it so I could show you exactly what I mean. So like, this is all like one piece, and if I try to move the joint, like you could see the plastic kind of bunching up there. So I just have to cut it out. It's not a big deal. The joint wants to move. It just stuck inside of that plastic. So that's such a weird thing to have happen. Like, I don't think I've seen that before. It's all Neca is innovative with the QC issues these days. But no, this is weird. But still, I think I was pretty impressed with the fact that none of the other joints gave me problems. But this is a kind of a goofy thing. I just wanted to show you what was going on. So I'm just gonna cut that out right there with an X-Acto knife. I'll just cut out like this piece of plastic. This layer of plastic will come off, and then same thing here in the front, and then it should be able to move with no problem at all. But yeah. And so now the plastic's cut off, and as you can see, the joint now moves freely. So it wasn't a big deal, but it's just like a bizarre thing. Right. But aside from that one thing at the ankle, there was zero quality control issues, and the figure was fun right out of the box. I didn't have to jump through hoops to loosen up the joints. I didn't have to stress myself out. None of that shit. Right out of the box, it was a super fun figure to mess around with. And yeah, I'm very impressed and relieved that that's the case with this figure. So hats off to Neca, and hopefully this is the kind of thing that we see going forward. But enough about that. Let's go ahead and get in close and take a look at some of the details. And starting off with the first of 3 different head sculpts that he comes with, I think they did an amazing job with this. I would say this is by far my favorite head sculpt for Frankenstein. I love the way his face looks. I like how his eyes are kind of looking up and just kind of lost, you know. This is a perfect looking head sculpt in my opinion, and when you just kind of look at it from any angle, it looks really good. I love the details on it, like the gash on his head, the bolts on the neck. Those look really nice. Check that out. And I like how there's a little bit of blood around them. I like the different shades of color that he has on the face. It's not like a black and white situation, so the skin has a bit of a green tint to it. but it looks really nice. Check out all that detail on the face, man. Really, really good. The second head sculpt looks pretty good too. I'm just not a huge fan of the expression that they're giving him here, but I think it's very well executed. Once again, it has a lot of great paint details. I love the darkness around the eyes and just the different shades that we have on the skin. He does have that gash on his head, and then he has a staple up there on top. And this head sculpt looks extremely nice. I just like the expression on the other one just a little bit more, but you know, they did a good job for what they were going for here. And then the same thing goes for the final head sculpt. I think this looks really good. I'm just not a huge fan of the expression. It kind of looks like he's laughing or something. Or maybe it looks like he's trying to talk, or maybe trying to laugh, trying to smile. I don't know, but this is a crazy looking head sculpt. I do wish that he came with a straight up angry head sculpt. I don't know if that's what this one was going for, but it doesn't really come across angry to me. But still, the details on it look really good. Once again, we have the darkness around the eyes. We have the blood and everything. Over here on the side of the neck, we've got like a nice little scar. And I like how the scar goes from the neck onto the heads, and it does that on all three of the heads, as you could see. Got the scar going on right there as well. So I think that's really nice. And yeah, all three head sculpts are extremely well done, but the regular, just looking creepy with not a whole lot of emotion head sculpt is my favorite by far. Look at that. That is a thing of beauty. And then moving down into the rest of the body, there's not a whole lot to discuss here because he's basically just wearing all black. So there's not a whole lot of paint work, but they did put a little bit of shading on the creases of his jacket so that the details stand out. And it does look really good. The hands look really nice. Check out how his forearms have those metal things going through them. And then we have a little bit of like blood in there. Or not blood, but just like the skin just looks messed up, you know, like a corpse. So that looks good. Check out the detail on the hand. And then moving down into the legs. Again, it's all black, but they put a little bit of paint shading in there just to bring out the details. And then you got his big ass shoes. But yeah, man, this is an incredible looking figure in my opinion. And aside from the three heads that we've already looked at, Frankenstein does come with some other cool accessories, including 3 different sets of hands. So first off, we have a set of open relaxed hands, and then we have a set of open dramatic grabbing hands. It looks like he's ready to reach out and strangle somebody. And then the final set of hands, I'm not really sure how to describe them. They're just kind of positioned in a way that you could use them to hold on to the flowers that he comes with. And then, last but not least, he does come with a pair of shackles. And the flowers he comes with are really cool too. There's not a whole lot to them, but when you put them in his hands, I think they look pretty nice. And he has no problem holding them. I mean, this one's a little loose on this side, but with this small flower, you could just take the stem and put it right in between his fingertips, and it stays in there pretty good. So that's cool. And then for the shackles, in order to get them on, you do have to remove the hand. So you just take the hand off, put the shackle on there, and there you go. And these are really cool. It's always nice to have things like this around, you know. You could use these for different types of shots or whatever, but they look really nice on Frankenstein, and yeah, they're nice and they're easy to take on and off, so I do like these a lot. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find my Diamond Select Frankenstein or very much of the other Diamond Select monster figures that they did put out, but I was able to find a couple of my favorites. What we have here is Lon Chaney's Quasimodo and the Invisible Man, and this Invisible Man is pretty much the same as Frankenstein in terms of articulation. All he could do is spin his head around, spin his hands around, and then his arms could come up. That's about it. That's how articulated the Frankenstein was as well. So yeah, they didn't give these figures very much love in that department. They looked cool though. That's why I still have this Invisible Man. He's my favorite Universal monster, and I think it's a cool looking figure, but you just can't really do anything with it. So it'd be cool to see Neca tackle these characters as well as Wolfman and the Mummy. The Diamond Select Wolfman and Mummy figures were actually okay. I just don't know where the hell I put them. But still, I think Neca would make them 100 times better. And then next up we have Frankenstein alongside one of the mole people from Diamond Select and Mr. Hyde from Diamond Select. And even though these figures do look outdated, I still think they look pretty cool standing next to Frankenstein. So you could definitely put together a pretty cool monster display with your new Neca stuff and your Diamond Select stuff. And then next up we have them alongside the recently released Neca Ultimate Ghostface and then the Retro Sam from Trick or Treat, also by Neca. And I love these two figures. Even though I'm not a big horror guy, I think both of these figures are awesome. They look great next to Frankenstein if you want to put together like a movie monster killer display. I know that Frankenstein and the Universal monsters are different type of monsters than these guys here. But still, I think Neca is killing it with the scary movie slash monster slash horror movies. And then here we have them alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Orlok and the Mezco 112 Collective Michael Myers. And then of course for the final size comparison we have them alongside the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man and Marvel Legends Bucky Cap. And as far as the articulation goes, as I mentioned before, he does have a good amount. Nothing over the top, but definitely enough for the character. So let's go ahead and take a look. The first thing that kind of caught me by surprise with the articulation is the head and neck setup. We have movement at the lower neck and at the upper neck, much like we've seen with a lot of Hasbro figures and import figures and just like all over the place. It's becoming the new standard, and I think that's awesome because this joint definitely gets some good movement. Check this out. You got movement at the lower neck and where the upper neck meets the head. Using both of those, you get some really nice tilt. You could get them to look up to about right there, which is better than like some Iron Man figures and Superman figures. So that's kind of cool. And then he could look down to right there, which is pretty good. But yeah, when I saw that they used this kind of head and neck setup, I was surprised. I was like, oh shit, I wasn't expecting that. So that's good stuff there. And then for the torso, it seems like he has a diaphragm cut and a ball joint at the waist, and I wasn't really expecting to get much movement out of the torso because, as you can see, he does have this jacket. It's fastened in the middle. I kind of thought that the torso was just going to be like a solid piece or just like something that wasn't very functional, but as it is right now, you could actually get some pretty good movement out of it. So check this out. You could tilt to the side to about right there. Not a whole lot, but pretty decent amount, especially considering he has a jacket on. He could go back to about right there, which again, the jacket kind of gets in the way, but where it's really impressive is going forward. Like, I did not expect him to be able to crunch forward that much. I know it's not a whole lot, but it's way more than I thought Frankenstein would be able to do. So, awesome stuff. I love that they have a ball joint at the waist and at the diaphragm. That is super cool. I don't think I've seen that on a Neca figure yet, so that's good stuff. Oh, actually, you know, I take that back. I guess that's how their Predator figures are. So I'm glad that they gave Frank the same treatment here. So that's good stuff. And then you can twist side to side at the diaphragm or at the waist. So I'm really happy with this torso joint. And then for the arms, they do go all the way around. They come out to the side to about right there, which is a pretty good amount. He does not have any upper bicep swivel. He's got a single jointed elbow, which gets more than 90 when you bend it. Look at that. That's pretty good. I mean, a double jointed elbow would have been nice for sure, but I'm happy with this right here. This is enough range for me. And then we also get the swivel at the elbow. And then at the hands, we have swivel and hinge. There you go. And then for the legs, they kick up to about right there. He does have like that plastic piece kind of covering the ball joints at the hips, so it all looks really good, but it doesn't go forward a crazy amount. Definitely enough for Frankenstein though. So you could get his leg up to about right there. You could get it back to about right there. He could almost do the split, so there you go if that's something you want to do. And then he does have upper thigh swivel, single jointed knee, which only bends to right there. And then he also has a swivel at the knee. And then at the foot, his ankle could go forward to right there. And you could bring his foot up to right there. And then he does have rocking ankles. But there is no lower leg swivel. So yeah, once again, not a crazy amount of articulation, but definitely enough for Frankenstein. Probably more than enough for Frankenstein. So, you know, all things considered, I'm super impressed with the articulation on Frankie. Alright, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, I am extremely happy with this figure, and I think that Neca did a phenomenal job on it. In my opinion, it's pretty much the perfect Frankenstein figure. I can't really think of anything that I dislike about it. There's no glaring flaws. There's nothing that I wish was different. I guess it would have been cool if he came with a proper angry head, but aside from that, I think this guy has pretty much everything that you'd want out of a Frankenstein figure. He's got some great accessories. He looks good. A lot of nice detail. I love the sculpting work. The bolts on the neck, the blood on the head, the things in the arms, the jacket, just everything about this is very well sculpted. And then on top of all that, he has some really nice articulation, especially considering that it's Frankenstein's Monster. I never thought I'd have an articulated Frankenstein figure. And like I said, it's not over the top, it's not like mind-blowing, but it's just a lot for a Frankenstein. And I'm extremely happy with it. I had no idea that this guy would have such a high fun factor right out of the box. I keep posing him around, keep messing with them, and I'm just enjoying myself with this figure. And I really hope that Neca continues down the line of giving us Universal Monsters, because I would love a mummy like this. I would love a Wolfman like this. Holy shit, that would be dope. An Invisible Man. Give me all the Universal monsters. I'd be down for every single one of them if they came out nearly as good as this. This thing is awesome. I'm so happy with this guy. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And also be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. If you're not aware, I do go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and every Friday at 7 p.m. So come through, let's hang out, let's talk about toys and get weird. Peace.